All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, good morning, guys. Good morning. Happy Black Friday. Today is the 25th of November, 2022. Let's get started with the ES futures. As I say, ES futures is what I watch to kind of to get us started. Kind of, gives me that insight on what to expect into this morning and last night. And yesterday we were pushing up. You could see here towards 4,050, really nice push. And if you look left, we just kind of came into that topping wick over here. And then today, we're already inside. So today is an abbreviated day. It's only a half a day. There's going to be low volume. So it's really important not to have the same kind of expectations for today. We may get a break. We may see, some sort of trend follow through after this pullback, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But far as the pattern recognition that I'm seeing is that we are inside this candle, so it's an inside candle until we start to bid right above the base here, and that's if we bid a bit above that. And if we do, then we could see the continuation candle and possibly come up here and smack that 200 and then finally hit this bull target that we're looking at. But for right now, expect an inside day until proven otherwise, okay? So again, this is the daily, and if we come over here on the weekly, you can see nothing's changed. This is an inside and up formation. We came into the cloud, we pushed into that resistance, and now we're just kind of rejecting. Also very normal. Higher lows on the yellow bars here on the TTM Squeeze Pro. And then moving on over to the 4-hour. A lot of top and wicks coming down into possible support that I just showed you here on the daily. So between 40.25 and 40.33, I want to see if we can get some sort of move in here to the upside. But again, it could be very brief. All right. Then we're going to pop over into the 5-minute. We're going to wait for the PMZ. The PMZ for right now is a risk of about 3 points. The problem that we have, regardless if it's Black Friday, see, this is what I'm talking about, the holidays. People get a little exuberant and so forth. I'm seeing lower highs, lower lows. The trend is down until proven otherwise. So on a break to the upside of the PMZ, just watch out as we have a lot of lines above us. Notice here we have the line in the sand. It looks like we have the weekly edge, we have the daily edge, a lot of resistance up here. Okay, as far as the support that we were talking about around 40.25, notice also that we have a quant pivot down here at around 40.26. Right now, let's go ahead and identify the PMZ. So the PMZ low is saying right now it'll most likely change, but 40.32.8. All right, so we're going to come up here. And we're actually going to make this 40.32.75, so about right there. And then the PMZ high is 40.35.60. So we're going to come up here, and that's perfect. So it's right here above the daily edge, basically. So I really like these numbers. We need to round that up to about 75 right there. So your PMZ for right now should pop into here. But again, we could move quite a bit before the open, okay? So if we come down into 40.26 by this 40.22 level, I'll be looking for some bids to come in, and that possibly could be a good place to buy the dip. Or if for some reason the market opens up and we get in here and just kind of hang out, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stay neutral, and whichever way this breaks, we'll try to take that trade as long as we're okay with the overall risk, which is right now, again, 3 points, okay? So that is the PMZ, that's the ES. The biggest sentiment going here is on the daily. Watch your daily chart. If it's inside, it's most likely going to be choppy and not really worth the trade, okay? All right, let's go ahead and move on. So the next thing that I want to be looking at are a few of the names that I'm concentrating on this morning, and that's going to be Apple in the middle. The reason why I'm watching Apple is just primarily because I want to see how it acts, if it's going to lead the market continue to go down, or does it actually get bid, and then we start to see the market move up. Now these are two opposing zones that I have on Apple. So down here on the lower end, 148.5 by 147, and then to the upside, folks, I have 150.9 to 152.77. These are 4-hour opposing zones, so I'm just going to write that in here. Okay, they're not the best zones, but I kind of feel like these are the zones we probably are going to trade with going into today. Okay, so two opposing 4-hour zones. Notice we have a lot of lines above us. Again, just like the rest of the market, we have some resistance right above us. Okay, the idea here is if I trade the PMZ, the risk is only 30 cents. I'd be rounding that up to about 50 cents for myself, and so I'm not biased on it. However, if we were to dip down really fast on the open, I am biased to the upside. Okay, I'll be looking to buy the dip down here. If for some reason we go bid over the PMZ, I'll try it above the PMZ. If for some reason we break down below it, then I'll try to take it as well. Your PMZ high is right up here at 149.73. Your PMZ low is 149.41. Again, risk is 32 cents. For me, I am adjusting that to 50 cents. If I take the trade over the PMZ, I'll be looking at the trendy edges and the quant pivots. The levels that I'm looking at 149.61, 149.84, and then possibly up here at 150 and a half and 150.9. Over on the left hand side, Chewy, I actually really like the look of Chewy. Let's go over here and put Chewy in here. And I want to go to a 4-hour. And that's what this looks like. Okay, so here's your TTM Squeeze Pro down at the bottom. Okay, nice higher lows on the yellow bars here. We got some trendy blue that's starting to appear there. But we're also rounding off of the trendy edges. You can see that. We keep coming down to the trendy edge. So if for some reason this morning we actually come down and hit those edges really quick, I want to be trying to buy off of those levels. And that's somewhere between 40.97 and 40 and a half. Okay, 40.97 by 40 and a half. My targets to the upside intraday, folks. It'd be great if we can get over these levels, but intraday right now would probably be right here at 42.33. And if we were to get lucky, I'd be looking for 44 by 45. I personally like this trade as a swing trade going into next week, but you know, I may just dabble around and mess around with some strikes for today. We'll see. Okay. Or I might actually take equity. Again, you'll see that come through once I take the trade. Again, that is Chewy. Now, the next one that I want to be looking at is going to be HD. So let's minimize that. I want to put HD in here. And HD on the weekly, I love this setup. I gave you guys this chart not too long ago. This is an inside and up formation. I am getting a buy signal. If for some reason it pulls back into 317 and a half, which I'd be shocked, but if it does, I'll be looking to buy and then looking for a move up towards 333 in the next couple weeks, as long as 317 can hold. So again, this is my risk, 317. Intraday, if you like HD, simply just come over here to the 5-minute. We'll be looking at the PMZ. It says 26 cents. I would actually make this probably 50 cents to $1. This thing likes to move around, so I'm going to give it a little bit of room, okay? But again, we only have a half a day, folks. So your PMZs are probably the best setup for today. I don't want to be in a trade probably more than an hour. Seriously. And it needs to work quickly. Time is really against us this morning. Okay, your PMZ high is 322.79, PMZ low 322.53. Again, risk 26 cents. I would at least make that 50 cents. As far as targets to the upside, I'd be looking for here at 322.92. Up and to the left, we have a little bit of resistance at 323.74, and then above that, using this quant pivot here, I'm going to come just right before it, 324.57. I do not want to go short HD. Okay, I don't want to go short Chewy. I really don't want to go short any of these names unless it's just intraday. All right, so I'm just looking to buy the dip, but the setup has to come. If it doesn't come, I'm not taking it. Pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions about any of those charts that I just showed you? As far as the rest of what I'm holding, let's go over here and take a quick look, and then I'm going to jump off. I'm over in the day trading room. At Simpler this morning at 8:20, so Melissa will pretty much be taking over. I'm going to jump off of here, but this is plug. You know, it's flat. It doesn't look great. It looks like the rest of the market. I'll probably put a stop on this thing for about 20%, but this is what I think you should focus on. This is the overall trend. Let's just make sure we get all that into play. So I'm looking down and to the left. I want to see where this baby took off, and it's about right here. So we'll come up to this pivot high, and notice we're breaking below the 38.2. Okay, so I really want this thing to hang in there today, at least above 1530. And if we go back, this was our blueprint. I don't want to see closes under 1509. And again, 1509 happens to be right down here by this trendy edge. Okay, so that is plug. And again, I don't personally want to take more than probably a 20 to 30% loss on that. So I'll be watching that closely. And we have trimmed already. The next one is Google. Let's take a look at that. This is a long-term play, but just to remind everybody kind of where we're at. And I'll figure out how to spell here in a second. All right, so if we pull back here, we're looking for 97.66, maybe into 97, and then I would expect it to go bid. I'm still looking for an attempt up here towards 100. This is an AC/DC setup, although I prefer to make higher highs between the decelerator and the accelerator, and I'm still looking for 102 by 103 up here. Okay. So that's all I see for right now. I'm going to let Melissa jump on. And then again, I'm going to be in the day trading room. My focus will be over there for the next. I got to be in there until 10 o'clock, but I'll also be watching here in the room with you guys and Melissa. Good luck, everybody. Have a great day. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I already miss you guys and can't wait to trade with you on Monday. But for right now, let's just be safe, have fun. Don't get too serious today. Again, the volume's going to be low, and everybody's kind of doing their thing. Okay? We'll see you soon. You sound great. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. Man, a day after Thanksgiving. So, we're going to get started here. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're like me, um, you had a lot of food. And before I even finished my plate, I think my wife was asking me if I could wake up. So, I mean, it was seriously one of those type of meals. We had all of our family over at the mother-in-law's house. We had a huge spread. Everybody did such an amazing job, and just so excited to be able to share that with everyone. So hopefully you guys had a great one. We're going to do a little bit of day trading today, but before we get started, I want to go ahead and make sure I throw this disclaimer out there that is a very low volume type of day. And so I don't like to press things just because. And so we have to be able to see the setup or get the setup before I execute. But I do have some trades I want to go over with. If you've been watching me for quite some time, then you know that I use the ES futures every single day. This is my kind of lead into how I trade my portfolio. And what I'm seeing right now, probably the most important part or important chart of the day for me is going to be the daily. Okay, so notice we have the daily, and I always have the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, and then we use what's called the PMZ, the pre-market zone that I always trade for intraday trading. The weekly looks great. We're going from a red to white kind of momentum. The problem is that we are coming into this EMA. You could look at it like, hey, it's a low volume day. We're inside on the day, but really at the end of the day, we're coming right into this resistance here, and that's what we expect. All right, so on the weekly, everything looks normal. Let's go ahead and go into the daily. It's an inside day, folks. And this right here, this is a Fibonacci support level that I found. And if we can't hold 40.25, then I'm really not interested in the long until we start to pull back into demand zones on the 4 hour. Okay, and I'll show you some of those here in a second. So again, 40.25, I'd expect some bids to potentially come in here and we get a little bounce into the open. And again, if we open that up, you can kind of see where that's working. And so if you're ES future trader, again, I like the trade only with a 3-point stop here. 40.25 needs to hold. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. All right, so this was my blueprint that we've been using all week since last Sunday. This has worked out really, really well. We hit our targets, we pull back, and here we come, right? Again, into that daily support like I showed you. As far as the 5-minute is concerned, all right, this is where the bread and butter kind of happens intraday, every day for us as we use the pre-market zone. Okay, now that pre-market zone is changing as we speak. The risk now, instead of 3 points, is almost close to 4 points. So we're getting a little bit of a sell-off here before the morning. And then the automated PMZ will show up on the chart, and we simply just trade above the PMZ or below the PMZ as long as we're happy with the risk. So you can see here's an example of Friday, trading the PMZ over. I think our risk there was like 3.5 points on Friday as well. It worked out really, really well. The PMZ held throughout that. Or this was on our abbreviated day. If we come over here, give me 1 second here. Check out this. So this was some beautiful runs out of the PMZ. Our last full day, and then again we had an abbreviated day there as well. So coming into that support, holding 40.25, we got this nice little hammer coming out of here, and as far as right now, we'll probably see a little bit of resistance there at 40.29. Now what am I watching? So first things first, we're looking at Chewy. All right, and so I want to take you into a 4-hour chart. This is what it looks like, pretty straightforward. I'm looking for intraday targets of 42.33 by 42.70. If we get lucky and we actually get some trend today, we could see prices move up into 44.13 by 45.78. Again, abbreviated day. All right, so for me, I'm most likely buying options for at least next week, regardless if I plan on taking an intraday trade. Again, I don't want that premium to get sucked out of the option immediately, but I also want to be right fairly quick. Okay, so because of that, I still want to buy next week's options, but I also don't want to stay in a trade too long. Okay, all right, so here's Chewy. This is what it looks like from a 4-hour. Your support is 40.97 by 39.26. For some reason, we bid down into this box. I'll be looking to buy the dip around 40.5. If for some reason we break over the PMZ here, On Chewy, I'll be looking to go long as well. The long would be over 41.55. 41.55. I'm looking for 41.91, and then possibly up here towards this 42.33. Okay, so that is Chewy. This is what it looks like when I'm trading. I have this little guy right here. I usually, anywhere from 2 to 4 trades a day. This is Chewy on a much smaller time frame, so I'll be watching it here, like I said, as soon as my PMZ opens. This is Apple. It's coming into a 4-hour zone that I've been waiting for here pre-market. So let's go ahead and show you that as well. All right, so this is what it looks like. You can see we're coming down into that zone, and we have 2 opposing zones. Let me go ahead and show you that. 148.49 by 147.06, 150.9 by 152.77. Looking to go long in here, and looking to trim on the way up would be 149.24, 149.62. So again, just intraday targets, 149.86, and if we get lucky, if we start to break and actually make some trend today, could see 150.9. Okay, so again, Apple coming into those 4-hour zones. All right, next one is going to be HD. This is on watch for me for a swing. So I'm going to show you the weekly just really quick. It's an inside and up formation. I'm looking for it to test 333. Obviously not today, but this is for a swing position. Let's go ahead and go into a 4-hour. And you can see here our PMZs are starting to pop up. If we start to bid above 322.92, so let's just say 323, looking to go long into 323.74, 324.57, and above that 327, 333. As I said, none of these am I looking to go short. Okay, none of these am I looking to go short. I'm looking for them to pull back into the zones. If they don't set up, I will not execute them. Okay. All right, let's pull this over here, and we'll talk more about it. This 8:20, 10 minutes before the market opens, kind of hard for me to go over everything, but I'm also, you can watch my pre-market stuff on YouTube as well. Okay. Hey, good morning, Mirza. Good morning. Good morning. So let's get started here. What I like to do is I'm watching those charts on the right hand side here, but I'm going to pop ES futures here, since this is my tool to either go long or short the market. Okay, so we're just going to watch this. And let me take some of this stuff off so it doesn't get too confusing. So basically, this is the pre-market zone. So this is the automated level. All right, and it's going, because we're opening up underneath it, it's going to be resistance until proven otherwise. All right, but we are coming into this lower level, that 40.25 that I was talking about, and we did get a nice little pop. So it looks like traders are already, looking like they're making about 5 points here to the upside. So that's great, based off of that daily. Now, when the intraday, when we open up here, we want to see that we can bid above the PMZ and actually hold it. The issue with today, okay, is that you can see we have a lot of lines above price, and we have this cloud, so it's resistance. You got all this resistance, and so your reward to the upside right now is a little skewed, and then your reward to the downside is really not there either. So what does that mean? Right? So you ask me, hey John, interested in seeing your thoughts for today. So my thoughts right now are completely sideways. So that's what I'm looking for. Completely sideways. So just a little sideways action, not a whole lot to look at. Okay. So first things first, in the morning, again, I'll be scanning over here. So we have our PMZs. All right. We'll open up here. Notice how we'll punch into the PMZ. This cloud is resistance, again, until proven otherwise. HD's bidding above our 323. All right, right there. Let it come in a little bit. And we'll just kind of slowly, I'm going to coach you through this. And Apple's in the zone. Chewy's in the zone. All right, so let me bring this over really quick so you guys can see. Okay. Right here, Chewy's in the zone. Apple's in the zone. Let it come in a little bit. I'm going to be watching the TTM squeeze here, watching the ES futures. Again, notice how beautifully that 4025 level is holding on the daily. So if you guys don't have your chart set up like this, I highly, highly recommend you do that. And again, I've told everybody this. We have a video on YouTube for about 5 minutes. If you watch it, it might be actually a 3-minute video. It'll really help you out here so we can, go through our charts like this really fast. Okay. So 4025 holding, but the question is, can we bid over the PMZ here? We got 2 yellow bars here. That's one of my favorites. And we are going to try, I'm going to try a little bit of Chewy here. And I'm doing some equity. And I'm in at 41.06. I'm going to buy some more. And then I would like to trim at 41.50 if we can get up there. Again, really quick intraday trading. And I know we're looking at the ES, guys, and you can't see my Chewy chart, and I apologize, but trimmed a little bit up there as well very quickly. Let's see if we can get this 41.50 trim. And we should be able to get it. If we can break this PMZ on the ES, we should be able to see that. Also, I'm going to try over here on HD. And I'm actually going to buy a little bit of time here on HD. If I can get in. Doesn't look like I'll be able to. Give me just a few seconds here. We're just going to do like a little placeholder here. If I can get in, I'm having a really hard time getting in. So this is the thing. If I can't get in, then I'll just do equity really quick. You can see here the PMZ is rejecting so far. My stops on Chewy are about $1.50 for right now on the equity side. Also watching Tesla. Yeah, my HD I could not get in. So if you guys got in equity, that's great. But I'm having a hard time getting in there. What I might do, might actually do a spread. Let it come in a little bit. We'll try. Let's see. I'll let you guys know as soon as if I get filled here on Chewy at 41.50 or around that area. All right, guys, looks like we're trimmed on Chewy at 41.49. All right, guys, Tesla, I'm going to try a little bit here as well. I'm in at 182.18. This one's going to be a little wonky. I'm going to give it a $3 stop. I'm okay with that. I'm trading with smaller size today. I'll let you know when I'm out. or I'm trimming, I should say. Try 50-cent increments. Yeah, bids were not budging. that was a that was a doozy, man. ES futures doing what I wanted to do off this 40.25 level. Almost got my first trim there on Tesla, folks, and I missed it by just a few pennies. See if it'll come back and get us. Also, if you follow me from the options room, we're still in plug. It's a pretty flat trade. We've trimmed last week. It's only up about 2% right now. Again, my Tesla entry was 182.18. And we're going to go ahead and, come on. ES looking good. Should be able to get this Tesla trim. Come on. I'm going to go ahead and trim. If I trim, it should go up. So I trimmed a little bit of Tesla there. And just so you guys can see, this is what my alerts look like. Could put these right here so you guys can kind of see that. I'm not sure why this says -0.3 there. All right, about to get trimmed. Oh, come on, come on. There we go. We're trimmed again. You should see that right here pop up. Boom, 44 cents. So how this reads is if I'm trading equity, it's showing end value. You know, I made 44 cents on that entry. Again, I'll keep that $3 stop at the 182.18. So that's going to put us, I don't know. See if I could do math this morning. I don't know. Let's make it for like 179, somewhere in there, 178.5 for right now. It's going to be a little volatile in the morning. So notice how we still can't get out of this PMZ, folks. Isn't that crazy? And next trim would be just before $1. Okay, we're about there. Okay, I'm going to trim some more. You can see it come through. 82 cents on Tesla. Bye, baby. Have fun shopping. Sorry, talking to my wife, guys. Black Friday. Have a good time. Oh, it looks like I actually closed out for $1. I apologize. So I'm out of Tesla already. So, see, that's what happens. If your wife comes in or your husband comes in, you got to always tell them, get away. Now, you could be doing this with options or equity. I kind of like to mess around with equity on small days like this. All right, plug is at 10%. I'm going to trim some. Let me make sure before I trim some. And give me a second. This is for the options room, guys, so I apologize. But, okay, so I trimmed some of that. So what I need to do is come over here. And I'm going to send this out in the options room. Give me 1 second. I apologize. All right, you guys can still hear me? Is that right? Sorry, because I'm kind of going back and forth here. A lot going on. All right, good deal. All right, guys, so on Chewy, let's go up here and see where we are. Tesla was a good out. So I get the question sometimes, hey, guys, Can I take options when I take, equity? It's the same thing. My risk is the same. My trims are the same. So if you took a Delta 50, you made $50 per contract almost on that Tesla on our last close. Far as the Chewy goes, we got in at 41.19. I'm going to go ahead and trim some more because I really don't want to be in these trades very long, guys. And that's only 10 cents there, and I apologize, but we'll leave the rest and kind of have some. See how over here on the ES futures, we're not bidding above the PMZ. So because of that, I'm being really careful. Does anybody have questions about that? So I know this sounds crazy, but this is like how I trade on the intraday. When I say it sounds crazy, it's because the ES futures are leading me. They're letting me know kind of what the market's doing as a whole. Sure, it's bidding from support, but the question is, can it get over resistance? So I don't really want to stay too long until I start to see bids come in above these upper levels up here. Okay? I need to pull this in just a little bit. All right, so this is pretty much what we're looking for. Okay, let's go over here to. Let me see. I'm gonna look at my scanners now. I'm gonna pull this out of the way. You guys don't really need to see that right now, but I like to use that in here if I'm going to be in the day trading room because I'm in so quick, right? In and out on some of these trades. Now some of them can turn into big winners, but far as like right now, it's a half a day. We're kind of chilling. HD looks amazing. So yeah. Let's see if these ES. Now watch what happens if the ES starts to bid above these levels up here. So the PMZ, sure. You can move. I don't like the risk to reward this morning. I like the risk to reward from this level, from the 40.25. As far as the PMZ is concerned, we could stall right here. So the better entry was here, not up here. All right, so we need to stay patient. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my scanner here. So my go-to is a PMZ. I want to see if any of these names are inside the yellow. See how, really quick, see how the ES is inside the PMZ? That's why the ES futures are showing up here. This lets me know right away that I could take my trade if I needed to. Or at least leads me to the trade, and then I wait. All right, so what do we got in the PMZ so far? We have XLE. Let's go over there and take a quick look. I want to show you how I trade these. So this is the XLE. Notice that the PMZ low by high, we have about 20 cents of risk, and that's it. So if we can close over, I'll look to take this trade. Close. Now, if you want to be aggressive, you could try in here, but I'm not going to do anything because of this big candle. I actually want to wait for it to flag a little bit. So I'm actually going to put an alert here and move on. So this is a different side of Trendy John, if you will. This is intraday trading. This is the day trading room. So it's a little bit different. I actually love swing trading and I love futures trading, but you're going to get like a little bit faster version of what I do in this room. Okay. So I spent a lot of time teaching in here for the first couple months when I was here, and then just kind of getting everybody used to my levels. But and let's see, Chewy's still looking good. We're out of Tesla. Plug is looking good. Still. All right, so what this does, check this out. So what this does for me, it keeps me also from losing money. You see what I mean? So I'm not set up here on an intraday perspective. So I don't want to do anything. All right. Let's go over here to Apple. right, so we're in the zone. Boom. Back into the zone, actually. Back into the zone. I like that. Nice little bounce from our zone there at 147 and some change. And let's go ahead and measure. This would be a great trade if we can bid over the 149.24. Let's see if we can get another trim on this plug trade. Martin B, are you talking to me? Need a different color zone? I like this Apple kind of pulling back. I would have liked it better at this entry down here at 147.20. So I'm going to come up here. Let's look at Costco. Let's get to a smaller time frame. Costco is looking amazing from a weekly perspective, folks. Red to white to green. This is like one of my, I dig this a lot. I'd be looking for 541.34. The question is the timing. Today is just one of those things like, is it going to move? You know, you can see here it's just kind of stuck. This actually looks better for credit spreads than it does trying to get directional here on Costco. HD up almost $5, guys. If you got a piece of that, congratulations. I did not. And this is one of those things when I'm looking at the spread, I'm like, man, I should have just, I should have just did it. But it's okay. And let's see, Costco, Disney. Let's check out Disney. I actually like Disney as well. Let's get over here to the 5-minute. Yeah, Apple chart looks fine. It's just doing its thing from the downside. Got room off of that blueprint. Looks like over here and over on my side, they got in on Apple 149s at 205 for next week. Yeah, December 2nd, 149s at 205. So this is Disney above the PMZ. You can see the PMZ is only 10 cents. So it's like one of those things where the risk is a little ridiculous. So I like to, add to that. But I would prefer it to come down here again, start to go bid, and then I may be interested in taking it here. Always on the PMZ trades, what I do is back this up, back that up, and look at it like this. And the whole entire trend is actually up. Okay. And we notice it came into a quant pivot. So everything's looking pretty good. All right. And I'm gonna put a pretty tight stop on the rest of Chewy because it just looks like a dud. So I'm gonna put it at around. I don't want to lose any money, so I'm just gonna put it down here in that zone where I wouldn't lose any money. So if anybody's following me up on that trade, then that's different for everybody. So I'm just gonna put, like I said, put my stop where I'm comfortable. And then Disney's starting to bid here. And that looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get something going here on Disney. Yeah, everything looks the same. We're under all this structure, all these lines. Anytime I see all these lines above us, guys, I start getting a little frustrated. It's like, man, we need that clean break. So let's go out a little bit. Let's do, I kind of like the 98 calls between 252 and 257. Let me look at Apple one more time. Let me look at ES futures one more time. All right, so I went ahead and bought 98 calls for 2 December. And what I'm going to do is like a 25% stop on those. And I do that immediately, by the way, guys. I do that immediately. So as soon as I take a trade, I look at my entry. My entry price on Disney was, let's see here, what it looks like 256. So I'll just do like a 25%, 30%, whatever you're comfortable with, and I put that stop in immediately. That way I don't really have to sit there and watch. Um, I've already accepted my risk before I take the trade. So probably around 2. Yeah, just put a stop at 2. Now that could be just a visual, or you can put it in. It's up to you, meaning a mental stop. And then on the remaining of plug, what I'm going to do for this particular trade, we have until next week. I want to go ahead and make sure. Those are up about 10%. I want to make sure we got in at 60 cents. So that'd be about 54. Probably don't want to be in the trade if it breaks down below 50 cents. So just kind of have a mental stop there. All right, ES trying to bid above the PMZ. Now watch this, folks. So notice the 40.25 has worked really well. Future traders, I hope you're doing well. And again, folks, I'm talking in a couple places here. All right. Nice push. And if you guys have any questions, please ask. Okay, I'd love to teach. So HD's up $6 from where I wanted to get in. So it's a little frustrating, but it happens. Actually, we're getting pretty close. We could probably trim some Chewy here. Let's try to see if we can trim around the high of the day, around 41.64, if you will. Especially while the ES tries to bid out of here, what we should see is that our long positions start to bid a little bit here. If we get over this, that's awesome. Let's go back over to the daily. Nice hammer off of our, check that out, guys. I can't make this stuff up. So this is what I sent out for our future traders this morning. Looking for that support at 40.25. It's working very well. Still an inside day, though. And all I did there, okay, is I found the 23.6 and the 38.2 and just was looking for bids off of that. And guess what? Doesn't have to be hard. I trimmed a little bit more of Chewy, 26 cents. Not a huge win, but all right, Disney's coming up as well. All right, so we want to come back over here on ES. I want to watch this from a 5-minute perspective. And again, just kind of hanging out here. And exactly what I would expect. Well, why this sits here, let's see if we can get any more trades going on the PMZs. Now, the idea here is intraday trading, just making quick money. Unless I'm buying time, a little bit different. Let's go to XLE. I think we talked about this just a few minutes ago. So it's trying to rev back up. Let's see if it can round out and actually try to make a break here. Before we do that, I want to check out the bigger picture. Yeah, it's making lower highs on the weekly. Not a huge fan. The daily looks nice. See if we can get over that 92.98 though. And Chewy is so boring. So what I'm going to do is put the rest of my stop just a few pennies above where we got in. Okay. So that's going to, help me with understanding. That I can't lose any money there, which is a good thing. And let's go back here to Apple one more time. All right, nice move here. Let's get back over there to the 4 hour. Look at that zone buy. Oh my goodness, awesome. Absolutely awesome. If you guys want to just kind of see how that works, you can see right here as well. Entering at the entry at 205, egg trimming at 235 for 14%. Very nice. All right, anybody have any charts while you guys are sitting out there, not talking a whole lot? Any of you guys need a chart or setup? Let me know. Just kind of write it in here. I can multitask like crazy. I got 8 screens I'm looking at. I love doing this stuff. So this kind of just gets me pumped up and ready for next week, if you would. Yeah, that's right. Hello? Is the audio coming through in here? Has it been? Okay, cool. Would never know. This is a quiet room in here. 3 positive trades, and it's like crickets. Good times. You guys probably aren't used to this, huh? Like quickness. All right, let's look at ES. All right, it's starting to move a little bit. All right, there's that rejection. So for traders taking the PMZ above, sure, you got your points to the upside. But for me, bigger picture, can we hold above here 432 into 436? That's 4 points. But from 40.25 into 40.35, folks, that's 10 points from support or $500 a contract. You can also trade the SPY off of the ES blueprints that I provide. Really quick. So for every 10 points, okay, equals $1 in the SPY. So I'm kind of known for these ES blueprints. I push them out every single morning, every single weekend. And basically, if you don't trade the futures, there's, who cares? You could trade SPY off of here. Did you guys know how many shares of SPY are you leveraging with one contract? Okay. Anybody know that answer? How many shares are we leveraging if you take one contract of ES futures? That's right, Deepu. 500. That's why ES futures cost so much, guys. That's why you can make so much money and you can lose money so fast. Is because you're literally, it's like you going out into the market and buying 500 shares. And sometimes a lot of traders don't understand how much you're leveraging, right? They really don't. They have no idea. And it's like, it's 500 shares. But the cool thing that really like helps you appreciate futures, right, is if we come over here and we just pull a calculator up, all right, and we look at the price of SPY, okay? You look at the price of SPY. Let's kind of give you some perspective. It's 402, okay, per share times 500. $200,000, folks. So if you wanted to buy the same or equivalent to one contract of ES futures, it's $200,000. So you're leveraging $200,000 with an ES futures contract, folks. All right. A lot of people don't know that, right? They don't get like the basic information from trading futures. It's very impressive. Okay. Same thing when you're leveraging, if you were to go out into the SPY market and buy 100 delta options, it'd be the same thing. You would be controlling 500 shares of SPY. So options and futures, you can see why people kind of choose that over equity. All right, guys, so now the market's starting to move a little bit. Our Disney is up 11%. Go ahead and trim there if you like. Okay, so coming up on 12%. Again, these are intraday, folks. These are $30 a contract there. And you can also pull those stops up after you stop, after you trim and so forth. Okay. I think Chewy, we might be making some high of the days as well. Yeah, so my videos can be found on my YouTube at Trendy Trading. Yep. And also you can archive my stuff here. Okay? Feel free to archive my videos here. All right, so I closed Disney just for fun, kind of showing you guys how you could come in here, make some intraday money just using PMZs and so forth, having a good old time. Let's see, we could move on. We could also, if you feel FOMO, so I call this a FOMO trade. If you're deep in the money, you made some money on the higher deltas, you can roll some profits into out of the monies. I can look at, I don't like unusual options activity, that's just me. But you can look at the option chain itself going into next week on Disney, and I can see, it looks like someone's buying the 100s and selling the 106s. So we got like a debit spread going there. Come over here. Let's look at Disney. Just kind of give you guys why we took that trade really quick. Okay, so we took it because it broke out of the PMZ. All right, we actually pulled it on the pullback. Notice the PMZ again, folks. The risk was only 10 cents. So you can see the value of this. You're buying at 98.86 and it's up here at 99.86. So from a marketing standpoint, yeah, sure, it sounds awesome. I know it's like, hey, pat on the back. I just showed you a strategy that you could, the risk is only 10 cents and you made $1. I don't know, you're looking from a percent risk to reward, that's a 1 to 10, folks. So that's pretty awesome, right? But you do have to take into consideration the volatility, the personality of the stock. Everybody's different, right? Tesla's different than Disney and so forth. So taking it back like this looks great on a 4-hour. Next target's 100.23. Keep going back here. Let's go ahead and do this. Sorry. This is your daily. That's absolutely beautiful as well. And then there's your weekly. The weekly looks great on Disney, by the way, guys. So you got that really big move up off of that news catalyst. That Iger was coming back, right? If we clear... Actually, I don't want to clear this. Give me 1 second. Show you from a different perspective. So I do have my indicators on TradingView as well. Let's go over here to Disney. All right, and I'll turn on my indicators. There we go. And give me a second here. There we go. So you can see we came into demand. So the idea when you're trading with institutional supply and demand is that bad news leads you down into demand levels, and a lot of retail traders get smoked because they don't have a system, and they typically close right where big money's looking to buy. And that's what my job is, to identify those areas with you. And then to the upside, we want to identify supply levels. And I know this sounds crazy, but that's where the majority of people also start to get long. They tend to get long into supply levels, into institutions. So here we are on Disney, and when I'm looking up and to the left, I actually really like this target. I'm using some of my proprietary stuff, but this up here around 105 is a better target for me. So as long as, I'm just trying to think of maybe if I want more of a swing position here. Let me see something. Just reading some of my levels, folks. Give me a second. 97.10. 97.10. So I'm going to identify. Sorry. And then we're going to hit, let's do support. Put that right there. So that's my support level. This is a demand level. My target is up here at 105. If we pull back a little bit more, because what's going to happen, guys, is the bigger money, if really there's any bigger money today, is most likely going to kind of exit, right, and go shopping, right, for their loved ones on Black Friday, and then the leftover retail traders are fighting, right, for profits today. If for some reason the volume kind of dies off and the market pulls back, I want to buy Disney again before the close, and I'm going to be targeting 105. Okay. Sorry about that, Don. Just a quick one. Yeah, just a quick one, guys. And I think you kind of used with Chandler in here. I think he's pretty quick as well. So now I know Chandler, like he does his charts here in the morning. He's got like this thing, the Evernote. Personally, what I like to do for myself, if anyone's following me, you can follow me on YouTube. 30 minutes before the open, we always go over what we're going to trade: entry, exit, targets, stops, so forth. And then those charts. I don't share charts. Just I have a lot going on, but I teach a system, and I sell indicators. So everybody's looking at the same thing, which is really nice. Really helps everybody out. So there's not a lot of questions, if you will. My biggest thing, though, I love to teach psychology, folks, and why I'm able to take these trades so quick in and out, and or hold them for a long period of time, is one of my favorite things. And this might come to a surprise for some of you guys, but before I take a trade, I always tell myself how much I can lose. Literally, I never think about how much I can make. I just don't. It's reverse psychology, if you will. Mark Douglas teaches it. It's just a waste of time. Everybody takes a trade because they think they're going to make money. We all know that. Why else would you put your money behind your trade? All right. What I want to ask you to do is every time before you take a trade, I need you to know how much money you're going to lose. Once you can genuinely accept that loss, you will become a better trader. You will be able to execute. You won't be afraid because you know how much you can lose. But then the next part of that equation is understanding where you want stops and so forth. So for example, this is why we lead, right, with trades like this, okay? So the system, my process says, hey, I already know how much I'm going to lose, right? And then right around here, when I execute this trade, I understand where my stop needs to be, okay? Just like if I were to take you over to the ES futures, okay? If I take you to the ES futures, this is really simple. It really is. It's a simplistic process. It's very mechanic, if you will. It's robotic, if you will. Oops. And I think did I just trim? Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah. Give me 1 second. trying to trim some more plug. Sorry. It's like it's so hard to get in and out of this thing though. It's pretty lame. All right. All right. So if we're over here, what I mean by simplicity of my process, there we go. Okay, we got the trim. So I'm going to go ahead. I need to place this in options. All right, there we go. All right, just want to mic check because I go in and out. You guys can still hear me, right? Okay, cool. Sorry about that, man. I'm all over the place. All right, so Chewie's still looking good as well. Disney's still looking good. So what I'm trying to say, and I apologize if you guys have watched me before, I kind of do the same demonstration over and over because honestly, the proof of concept is where it's at, right? So I show you things before they happen. And then when they happen, that is your proof of concept. Demand and supply trading, supply and demand trading is not like any other trading, okay? Matter of fact, the majority of traders are great at high insight. Hey, this is what the market did. And one of the most frustrating things is like, yeah, I see what the market did, but why didn't you do it? Right? It's like you didn't have a process. So I got tired of that for myself. I kept losing, and then I'm like thinking, okay, how do I take supply and demand after I paid for my education? Not only through the market, but literally I went to a school to learn about supply and demand. I got my little certification that said, John, congratulations, you're a professional supply and demand trader. I took that and then I just kept building off of it. And I said, man, one of the hardest things as a trader is trying to figure out like how do you take all the different time frames and mesh them into one trading process. Do you know what I'm saying? You're a millionaire in hindsight? Yeah. So, how do you do that? Right? And I figured out a way to do it. I really did. So, in order to do this for me, is that, I created my indicators, and a lot of people ask, like, hey, what do your indicators mean? And I never know who's listening. So, one of the things as a moderator that I feel like, that we fall into is you feel like the people that are listening are always the people that are listening, right? But the truth of the matter is some people are working, some people aren't able to listen to you. So I'd like to reiterate all the things I talk about. Okay. So what I figured out was going and finding supply and demand on different time frames is actually really simple. Right? So here's Disney, and I teach you that, right? I teach you how to identify supply and demand. Anybody can identify it. It's easy. It really is. It's easy to identify a structure because I teach you how to find that structure. But it doesn't mean that it's not easy to execute it. That's the hardest part about trading, right? So if we go to a higher time frame, let's just go over here. Like the question should be like, okay, John, on Disney, like how do we know long term that it was going to bounce here, right? Well, we have an inside and up formation. All right, and I find that formation and it's right here. All right, that formation is literally right here. And we find that formation when market is pulling back, right? Or after it's made. So the more advanced you become at supply and demand, you realize that, hey man, this is a zone right here that in the future will come back to be something really important for me. So you identify those, you set alerts, you know what your risk is going to be. And I know, you guys probably seen a bunch of people out there building zones and stuff like that. Not all zones are created equal. Okay, so a lot of people, they draw boxes. It used to actually be that trendy, that being me, I like to follow the trend, but I also like to be trendy before the rest, before the masses catch on, if you will. So what you'll find is that there's a lot of people drawing boxes, but they don't necessarily know what they're drawing. And so what I try to teach you is the fine detail of creating supply and demand zones. Okay, now, once you create those, I want you to go out into the market and then you find those zones. This is a zone that I gave, I think I was teaching earlier in the week. So I know that Disney came into the zone. I know that it continues to come back into the zone, and I know that the zone continues to work. Now, this is from a monthly standpoint. Now, you guys are in a day trading room. Most of you probably just want profits very quickly. So how do you take such a higher time frame and then break it into an actual process where you can get in today? That's where we fast forward, right? So I have trendy edges that identify supply and demand. It is a playing field of supply and demand because as a supply and demand trader, when I first learned about it, it was very difficult because I was always trying to be too particular. And if you find yourself being that way, this kind of goes for all traders. You don't need to be so hard on yourself, right? You really don't, especially for swing trading. I love swing trading. The problem is that the majority of traders are too particular. So when they get, they're just like they're using their 5 minute and their 30 minute brains for trading for a swing trade, and it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. So how do you create that process? Okay, so we identify a zone on a higher time frame, and then we come over into smaller time frames, and each one of my edges are from different time frames, and they're finding supply and demand on those time frames. Notice when I start to go on different time frames here, you start to see different colors appear on the chart. So what we're doing here is we're using trendy edges to identify areas of entry and exit. You'll also notice we have some arrows on here. They're called accelerators and decelerators. They are targets as well. And then coupled with that, I use the TTM Squeeze Pro and I use quant pivots. I'm still waiting for my quant pivots to be delivered to my trading view. Mirza, is there any way you can help me with that by chance? I'm still waiting for that. But I do have it on my Thinkorswim. Okay. And Don, for those questions, you're going to have to go to my YouTube because I explain it very clear on there. And I do not include my wicks. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, seriously, guys, I'm not trying to what do I get from you going to my YouTube page? We get subscribers from there, but I'm not getting, anything from that. You're getting the value. Watch those videos, all right? Because I spent thousands to learn a lot of stuff about supply and demand, and I'm giving it out for free, okay? So here we go right here. You can see that we have different color time frames. Now, the idea of this is that when prices come down into edges, we go long, okay? When prices are moving up to edges, we look to trim and to go short. Does that make sense? So, i.e., once we reclaim, looking to go long. Right here, reclaim, looking to go long. Looking to trim, looking to trim. That's how we use this process. And then we break it all the way down into a 5 minute, and that's where I have the PMZ. Now notice we trimmed, we got out of our position right at the right time. Price is coming back. Okay. Now you can look on a smaller time frame and you can find reasons why you should be looking to exit. We had a previous high over here. We have this supply zone that's up here on a 30-minute time frame. But also, as I said to you, you have to have about 5% of gut in this process. And my gut tells me that the early money, right, is where you want to be at. You want to be in and out today. It's a half a day. I really think that you should be spending, time, right, doing the things that we do. And a lot of traders feel that way, so they'll exit the market, and then you don't want to find yourself holding the bag. All right. So again, this is why I decided to get out of Disney. It worked well. It was fast. It was easy, right? Anyways, so I'm identifying supply and demand on high time frames, and then I'm going into a smaller time frame to buy that. And if I could do anything for you, let me just kind of show you a whiteboard. Okay, I want you to take your favorite stock X, Y, and Z. It doesn't take a whole lot to understand trend. Trend. Let's talk about it. Just in case you're a brand new trader, in order for trend to be up, you need higher highs and higher lows. Okay? Everybody understand that? So again, higher highs plus higher lows equals an uptrend. Lower highs plus lower lows equals a downtrend. If any of these are, let's say, a higher high, but a lower low, or vice versa, that's a sideways trend. Okay? Sideways trend. So right now, what we have when we look at Disney in this particular trend that I'm looking at from here to here, okay? Boom. Higher low. That's not hard to see. Okay? Higher highs? Yep. This is an uptrend. Okay? So if I assess that, then I come in here in the morning and then I come to my smaller time frame and I say, hey, I want to take this trend or this trade if it bids above my PMZ, and then I want my stops to be here if I'm okay with the risk. And far as options go, folks, I prefer to buy at the money or in the money unless we're just kind of going for a lotto trade. Okay? Where do I like to do out of the monies? I love SPX out of the money because really at the end of the day, folks, I don't need to buy at the money SPXs because we have such volatility in the market that we can actually capitalize off the system by using a smaller delta. Okay. Plus, it's hard to get out sometimes. You got to be careful with SPX, but I really like out of the monies with those. Okay. Yeah, this system can definitely bring clarity. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, all the like little different things that you see on my time frames, they're identifying playing fields of previous supply and demand. So, for example, you see these dotted green lines. These are called accelerators. Okay, and notice that I have a trendy edge over here. Well, if you come over here and you identify the supply zone on a 30-minute, I have indicators that are already there. So I know if price is to move up here, I want to be careful. So the reason why I did this is to make it convenient for me so that I don't have to go to multiple time frames to find this stuff. Okay, I also have this trend banner up here. This is really important for my style of trading. It's letting me know. So, for example, I wanted to be bullish on Disney today. Why? Because my Fibonacci says so. It says the weekly is extremely bullish to my definition, and the daily is also bullish to my definition. Okay, and so these are quick. I just look at this really quick and go, okay, what side of the market for Disney do I want to be on today? And then I look over at ES futures and, I coach you through that and say, okay, cool. You know, it's bidding at support. If it breaks above here and I said these levels right here, then things start to look really good. All right, so that's kind of what's going on there. So far from 40.25, again, 10 points, really lame action. I feel like it's going to be pretty sideways from here. But overall, you can see the process is helping us make money today. All right, and that's the most important thing. So even on chop days, you can make money. I'm not a huge I'm not a firm believer on sitting on your hands all the time. Matter of fact, I kind of came up with this new thing. Sitting on hands actually equals selling credit spreads. Like for me, I don't know if any of you guys sell credit, but I would much rather sell credit than sit on my hands. Okay, so for example, if this was a higher time frame and we were making lower highs, okay, I'd much rather sell calls here, and if I'm wrong, buy back the short side. Okay, instead of going short. All right. All right, let's open this a little bit. Sorry. And let me jump back over here. Okay. So yeah, so if we look at ES futures, there's that. Okay. Now there's this other thing we'll do since the market looks like it wants to bid. We'll come over here, double click again on the PMZ Meta. Let's take a look at it. All right. Let's assess it. I want to show you how I kind of. So this one's already run out of the PMZ, but I like again. I pull it back, take a look at it, assess the trend, pivot lows to pivot highs. Okay. Pivot lows to pivot highs. I could tell that it's holding about 38% of that move. That's pretty bullish. All right, so Meta was fun. It looked like it first thing in the morning, but I really don't want to mess with it right here. But I would expect it to go bid here. Let's just watch it for a few seconds, okay? So it's coming back into the PMZ. Let's see what happens here. Some of these names also, I just know to stay away from on Fridays. All right, NVIDIA. Let's take a look at that one. Oh, NVIDIA, where'd you go? I saw you. I saw you try to peek your head. All right, there's NVIDIA. You can see here. Same thing. You know, poked out the PMZ. But the idea is once we go long out of the PMZ, you know, we're hitting quant pivots, we're hitting, you know, my trendy levels and so forth, right? The risk today is 45 cents on NVIDIA. Kind of watch it here. A pretty firm believer, though, that the day is probably getting close to being over as far as value goes. Yeah, Don, let's look at Amazon. All right. I like Amazon. You know, I mean, my gut tells me, you know, there's going to be a lot of information coming out about Black Friday, cyber, whatever they call it, you know, all that stuff. But are they going to release it today? Not typically. Not in this market. Maybe in 2020 they would have. But this is, I mean, these are your quant pivots, folks. I teach a process around the quant pivots as well. And then you can see the PMZ is kind of doing its job. It looks a lot like the ES futures. Like nothing's really changed. You know what I mean? It all kind of looks the same. So, but the cool thing is you can assess your risk to reward. Like for example, how many of you guys have the quant pivots? Seriously, anyone that's listening, how many of you guys have the quant pivots? Anybody? Okay, cool. Well, so I didn't have them either until about a month ago or so. Okay, they're very valuable using the system I use because you can apply my methodology. I have folks, you know, that are trendy traders who they've taken what I teach and just apply that to their system. You know, so there's a lot of value in what we just talk about. Okay, so the idea here is before you take a trade, okay, is that one, you know how much you can lose. Two, where are you going to execute? Where are you going to get out? What are your targets? And the quant pivots really help me with that. So, for example, on my system, here's a quant pivot. Here's a trendy edge. This is where I'm looking for prices to bid. Okay, when price comes down into this level, we're looking for yellow bars. Execute. If you're okay with your risk before you take the trade, where's your stop going to be? So one thing that I teach is this risk right here for the PMZ is the risk that you're going to use the entire day. But we're only going to execute at levels. So if I were waiting for the pullback on Amazon, then my risk is going to be, again, guys, for 12 cents, I'm going to round this up. It has to be more than 12 cents for me, especially for Amazon. So at least 25 cents there. So from this entry point of this quant pivot, 93.11, we're going to at least come down to about 92.80 or so. My stop would be there, folks. Entry, I know how much I can lose. Where's my target? It's going to be up here towards the PMZ, to the line in the sand, to the quant pivot. You see, that's a process. Entry, stop, target, 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 over and over and over. And we focus on mechanical trades. Okay? Mechanical trades. Straightforward. I love doing this demonstration because to me it's so simplistic, but it has to make sense to you. If you guys don't understand this, or you have a question, or you think you're like, what? Just say so. Every day we at least trade anywhere between, I would say, between 2 and 6 trades, at least, almost every day. All right? And the win percentage is really high. But win percentage doesn't mean anything. Disclaimer, it doesn't mean you'll be profitable for the day unless you can stick to the right allocation. I already have traders telling me today, why is it today when we hit 5 for 5 that I go smaller on my allocation? LOL, right? That's just one of those things, folks. But every day we have an opportunity. Behind each one of these, let's go ahead and let's just write in here. This might be the PMZ, okay? This might be, I'm going to put quant pivot, QP, all right? This might be, I don't know, the 9 EMA, okay? This might be, again, the PMZ, all right? And over here, let's just keep doing this. I'm going to put edges. That's my stuff, right? This might be, let's do TTM squeeze. You're taking a trade off the TTM squeeze, all right? And this one might be TTM, okay? And then this one right here is going to be a PMZ. Folks, I promise you that many new traders, their problem lies in the fact that they do not stick with a process, right? So what does your process mean to you? For me, what it means is you have to have a stop, you have to have a target, you have to have an entry, and that's it. That's part of the process, and I gotta know how much I can lose. If I know all this information before I take a trade, I don't have a problem taking any of these trades. Because my process tells me that the win percentage is higher than the losing percentage. And if I can trust that, then I don't care if I get stopped out. My job is to get stopped and move on to the next process. See what I'm saying, guys? So the PMZ, let's just say today, I lose 30 cents. Okay, right here. Boom. I lose 30 cents, and the PMZ does not work out for me. Okay? I go over to the quant pivot I just showed you guys, and I make $1 from here. But the problem is that most traders here, they'll get hit, and then they're scared to take the next trade. So what happens? What happens? You guys know. I know this happens to you. This one goes plus 1.2. Boom. That would have made back your loss quickly. Okay? And then you have a 9 EMA. So basically price comes back into the cloud and then it bounces. Right? You don't take this one because you're mad about this one. And then the PMZ comes again. Okay? Now the PMZ starts working. You FOMO into the trade. And guess what? You get in where you weren't supposed to get in, and you lose money. Now you're just completely messed up for the day, and then you ruin the opportunities to seize, right? Maybe all 4 of these work, right? How many of you guys fall into that type of situation? It happens a lot, okay? It happens a lot. If you have a process that says in and out, in and out, in and out, and you understand that your win percentage is better than your losing percentage, you will feel more confident in taking each one of those opportunities. Now, listen, guys, I'm not a broker, I'm not a financial advisor, but if you don't have over $25,000, reach out to your broker, look into a cash account. I hear this too many times, folks. Oh, well, I don't have $25,000. So what? If you have a cash account, which is one of the accounts that I use as well, I can get in and out as long as my funds cover those trades. And in my small account, which is a cash account, it's only $15,000, okay? I only take up to $500 trades. I can never not cover my trades, if that makes any sense. So I'm taking 2 to 6 trades, okay? Let's just say I only take 3 that day. At a max, I'd be spending $1,500, but I have stops on those. All right? I covered those. I can get in and out of those trades. There's no penalty. Again, reach out to support. Most of you guys are using Thinkorswim. Reach out to them and ask them, okay, about a cash account. Now, this account that I'm trading from with you guys today is my margin account. That's different. That's over 25,000. I could do all kinds of weird stuff like spreads and futures and all that fun stuff. But this system allows me to execute whether I be in a cash account or a margin account. Okay? Yeah, so Mac, one of our things is, I get this question a lot. And the best thing that I could really do is, when we have, I'll give you the answer. When traders come into see me trade, I have data that's in my service, I guess you could say. So what I always tell people are that alerts are proof of concept. They are no way to solicit to say buy or sell. I'm teaching you a process, and my alerts define whether or not my process is working or not. Does that make sense? So if you, like, for example, for me, if you come into, and look at the trades that I take, okay? So for example, if you're looking at the trades I take, and I have a partner here who trades as well, these are all from today. The green is wins, and the reds would be losses. And this is straight from my API, okay? So 10%, 3%, 14%, 42%. This tracks everything that I take in my account, okay? Everything. Except for futures, okay? So that's like my track record, if you will. So my point is not to solicit, but to show you proof of concept, right? And I also focus on percentage, as in the gain on percentage, okay? So what does that mean to you guys? So if I make 20% on plug, right, it doesn't matter how much I make. My point is that I took the trade, I made 20% using my process, and that is what I want people to see. Because some people put 10 grand in, some people put $100 in. Does it really matter at the end of the day? I don't care how much people trade. What I care about is teaching an education-based system that you can use over and over and over. And then, as people get confident, they can decide how much they want to put into a trade. Okay? Hope that answers your question, Mac. So my percentage, as far as wins go, that could be easily looked at. I would have to guess it's up towards 80%. It's pretty high. And then the next question that I get is, what time frame do you stay in trades? Folks, for me, I do everything. So you can find me here at Simpler in Futures Room, the Options Room, which I consider, like, if I'm going into the Options Room, I'm looking for a swing trade, right? If I'm in here with you guys, we're going to concentrate on intraday trading until proven otherwise. Intraday trading until proven otherwise, what does that mean to me? If you took a trade, okay, and we make 100% on it, then you can hold the rest for a swing, right? We've already made our money back, and then we're looking to hold. if that makes any sense. All right, check out all these that are popping up in the PMZ. Let's take a look over here. Let's see, Etsy, Meta, still in there, Costco. I probably don't want to mess with any of these. Maybe Nvidia, but it was looking a little funky earlier. Let's look at Etsy. Yeah, even Etsy. All of these kind of went bit off of trendy edges and quant pivots this morning. So, again, guys, just understanding quant pivots. If I were to take my PMZ out of here and I were just teaching on quant pivots with my style of trading, it'd be assessing the trend, understanding where I want to get in, okay? Seeing if there's a quant pivot there, and then executing the trade, okay? All right, and let's see. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of plug. I really was looking forward to getting that other trim, but I guess that's not going to work out. We have stops in on Chewy. Let me make sure. Any other questions, folks? So I'd love to talk for hours and hours, but also if you have any questions about any charts or anything like that, or if you want to see a blueprint on a certain name, just let me know. I'll be happy. So Mac, we don't do percentages. That's necessarily like I'll do that, but I'm looking at my chart, so I do not have a particular stop based off of just percentage. I used to have one in my small account that I personally, it's my private account, where I'd just be like 50%, but I figured why do that? If my system works, it should work very quickly. And honestly, anything over 30% is not working for me. Does that make sense? If it's breaking down more than 30%, then I just did something wrong and I got to chalk that up. Yeah. So my stops are based on supply and demand. Okay. My levels. All right. So let me see if I can show you anything today. All right. Let me give you an example. All right. So we took Tesla earlier, right? So for me, looking up here, the risk was at 50 cents today. All right. So if we were to do a Delta 50, what does that mean? Do you know, Mac? If I took a Delta 50 option and my risk was 50 cents, how much could I lose on that trade? Plus or minus, $2 or whatever. Do you know that math, Mac? Okay. So a Delta 50, all right, guys, a delta means, depending on the number, that's what you're trading when you trade options, the underlying stock price. Okay? Listen, if I were to buy at the money calls of Tesla right here, let's just say that they cost me $2.50 when I executed this. Okay? If the delta was 50, that means for the underlying stock price, the stock price, every dollar that it goes against me, I could lose $50. And I always like to say plus or minus $5 or so. Okay? Plus or minus $5. Does that make sense? So if the risk was only 50 cents, okay, then I'm looking for about $25 to $30 per contract. Okay? $25 to $30 a contract if it went against me for 50 cents. And that's how I assess what my risk is, not necessarily a percentage. Remember, every time I take a trade, I understand how much I can lose. What is my number? What am I willing to lose? If I'm willing to lose $250, okay, the whole 250, what would Tesla have to go down in order for me to lose that amount, right? So if I had 10 contracts, and we were to lose 25 to 30 bucks, then I know I could take 10 contracts here, Mac. Okay? I could take 10 contracts here, and if stopped out on this risk, then I could lose about my value of what I'm trading. Okay? Okay? Does that make sense? This is the way you should be looking at trading, not percentage. Because it really, I've done it too, but for me personally, it doesn't really work out that great, man. Because you're 25%, like, let's just say, hey, man, I don't want to lose more than 25% of my trade, right? All right, you take it here. Let's say you took it right here, okay? Look at this box that I drew earlier this morning. This thing comes all the way to the bottom of the box almost perfectly, okay? That could have been your 25%. Boom, you're wiped out. And then the market goes, Tesla goes ham. See what I'm saying? This is a huge common mistake for a lot of people. The way that I want to use it is I'm identifying my risk and a level, and then I have to assess how much I'm willing to lose according to my risk. Yeah, and yeah, Taddy. So if you want to add 10 to 15, that's cool. So again, bid and ask, and it's different on everything, right? We primarily trade things that are pretty tight, though. We do, and things can change drastically really quick. But I don't try to think about the 5%. I'm just looking at right now, right here. If the options are tight, things work out pretty well. If you're going into something that's illiquid, then that's just a mistake already. You shouldn't even be looking at stuff like that, especially if you're a beginner trader. And what I mean is, as John would say, if you could drive a Mack truck through the spread, like, it's like you probably should stay away, okay? Let's take a look. And let's go to a high time frame. So let's pull up this guy. And let's go to a higher time frame because we traded CCL not too long ago. So you want to be, for me, on this big pullback, I wanted to come into a quarterly. Okay. And if we look at a quarterly, we actually came into a demand zone. All right. So Steve, this was actually, a really nice look, man. When most people were fearful, all you got to do is on this big dip, I want you to look left. Okay. And you can see here we have inside and up formations. So the zone itself is actually, it's kind of wide because we're going to include two different zones. And we come across here and it's right there. Okay. And let's go ahead and, oops, sorry. This is a formation, so this is demand. And no, I'm not just making that up. You can identify it over here, folks. There's inside and up formations. And then, see, we came into demand. It worked really, really well. Notice that cloud is resistance until proven otherwise. So the entry for CCL, the best entry has been down here in demand. And then if you're looking forward, I actually, we took this trade a couple weeks ago, but what I was looking for was a move up into this box. So we're so close to it. It's not my favorite right now, but that doesn't mean that I can't trade it from an intraday perspective. It is on a monthly going inside and up, okay? So on the monthly, it's going inside and up, and your support is $9. And as long as 9 can hold, I like this back up towards 1121. Okay, what's the current price right now? 977. Yeah, so 11, 11 and some change. And then weekly, on the weekly for me next week, I wouldn't even be interested unless it starts breaking above 1041. So again, smaller picture, everybody has a different perspective. If I were long term, I like it as long as it's holding 9. If I'm trying to go short term, me personally, I need to see value come in above 1041 before I get too interested, man. So that's just my take. Yeah, so I don't share. So my indicators are not shared. I rent my indicators on TradingView, and either you can rent them or you can buy them straight out on Thinkorswim or TradingView. So I get the question sometimes, hey, can we rent Thinkorswim? Good try. So you can't rent Thinkorswim because the code is available. So people would just copy the code. So TradingView, you cannot copy the code. So we rent them. Okay. See, Trudy, things that TV can do that. Yes, great questions, URL. So huge difference. Okay, so TV on my phone looks just like my screen. Okay, absolutely amazing. I literally could be. So I live out here on the water, guys, in the summertime, and I'm not trying to sound like kind of gimmicky, but the truth of the matter is, we like to be on the water, right? We have jet skis and boats and stuff. And when I'm out on the go, I can literally see if something's going bid above the PMZ, and I know what my risk is. It literally looks just like this. That's what I love about TradingView. I cannot do that on Thinkorswim. Okay. Now, Thinkorswim, what I love about Thinkorswim is that Thinkorswim is I can have scanners. I cannot have scanners on TradingView. Huge difference. So to each their own. Okay. So again, if I come down here and I want to I want to hurry up and find things while I'm trading, then I just can use my scanners. And by the way, like this scanner tells me what time frame, demand, and supply zone current trades um, are currently trading at. So I could look over here and I know immediately. Okay, so this is a huge thing for me, and I need this to trade here in front of my computer. Whereas if I'm on the go, then again, I'm just looking at, I'll probably, whatever I have on my screen, you could see on my phone. So I love that about that. So, yeah. And let's see here. So we're coming to an end, folks. Let me see. Did I answer everybody's? How can we get this set up in TradingView? Yeah. Rick P. You can't. So you're not gonna find my indicators in TradingView. Like I said, they're private, right? So you can't. So you can't find them. They have to be rented or purchased or whatever. Let's go back over here and look at ES just really quick. As you guys can see, we're just kind of petering out. A lot of sideways action here. Um, and I'll keep Chewy on. So I think we're closing the market, what, around 11 o'clock maybe Central Time? 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so 12 o'clock here. Got it. Thank you for that. So I'll keep my stop in on Chewy. Like I said, it's in the money right now. We entered at 41.19. It's at 41.60. My plug, if any of you guys were following me up on that from the options room, like I said, I'll keep the remaining trade here. These aren't running very hard, so not much for me to do. Disney's still looking good at 280 from 250. I closed that out though. I don't want to be in a lot of trades going into next week. I have some long-term Google, and then I have a spread on Goldman Sachs that's not working out. And let's see, and that's about it for me. So, Don, it is like a new language. It really is because the majority of traders are trading the retail way, right? And the whole idea, what I do is to teach you uh, from an institutional perspective. Yep. So it's unfortunate that the majority of people all do the same thing, and I think that's why the majority of people have a hard time executing their trades. So I'm glad that it's sinking in for you. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So I'm gonna keep it pretty quiet unless you have any more questions. I really don't have time to go over another chart. So it's been great teaching you guys, and I hope that you're able to take something away from it. I think one of the valuable lessons today is always going back to the ES futures and being able to read the market. Reading the market primarily, we knew that support was down here at 40.25. It worked really, really well. I went long because of that support, and as long as ES was supported, I was staying long. And then I broke it down into a smaller time frame for you, and then we just kind of coached through it, and we wanted to stay long as these things were happening. Okay. Now the biggest question is over the weekend. What this is, I do an assessment every weekend where I go over SPY, QQQ. So check this out. So I never talk about this here, but one thing that I'm really known for, and I've been keeping data on this for a very long time, is called my neutral strategy. And the neutral strategy is like a PMZ, but on a high time frame, if you will. Okay, so it really is. So it's pretty crazy. But the idea here is if you look at this, you can go long on a close over the neutral and go short under a close underneath the bottom neutral. Or for aggressive traders, they go long immediately on the break or they go short on the break. And this is, I coined this as a neutral strategy. And I've been keeping data on this for many, many years. It works really well. But it's more for the kind of person who's not and doesn't have time to be around the charts all day. But you can see we keep these results, but you can see the levels work very, very well. We break over here, we hit T1, T2's up here. You can see the bottom neutral held very well. We break above neutral, we hit T1. So just kind of overall if we look at this, just kind of sideways. And then from there, what I like to do is give a bigger outlook on the entire market and then just kind of trade from there. But again, I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful holiday. Stay safe. We'll see you around. All right, looks like you guys are tearing it up in here. Let's see. Yeah, Melissa, you still around? Damn coffee's cold. Yeah, that was a long session. A long session. I did. So did you get long Tesla around the same place where we bought equity? I could not keep up. I was like, there's so much going on. I think that's about the same place. Yeah, it was earlier. I came back to look at the alerts. I'm like, oh, sweet, cool, nice, nice, very nice. And ES Futures trying to bid up here and get a buy signal. So, man, if we could take out the highs, I think y'all's positions could. Well, the high pivot. Sorry, over 40.41. So let's shoot for 40.42. That'd be awesome. Keep my fingers crossed. By the way, guys, on Goldman Sachs, that's risky because literally, it's towards the end of the day, and I only risked 1 for 1 on that trade, just a little over 1 for 1, and I bought it back. And if it goes down, then I can end up losing, a lot more. So I'll put a stop on it. On the rest of it, it's just to see if I can get. I have a sell in to try to sell at 450. So if that happens, that'd be cool. But please do you. Um, Sounds like you guys are doing great. So I'm gonna heat up my coffee, come back, listen, and today would have been a great day for me, Melissa, to put my whole account on that Tesla trade with you. Then I could have surprised you, but it's always something though. Seriously, like I'm like over here teaching, and it's like you know, but it was good. I thought it was a good session. It was a light crowd. It was fun. I took several trades, right off the bat, just kind of show proof of concept. So it was fun. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are tearing it up as well. So it looks great. I think I read a comment in there that Roberto was like, why on this day did I go? Yeah, isn't that crazy? I'm telling you, man. It's because that's just how it's designed. So you went from like instead of doing $100,000, you did like 60, 70. Yeah. Could you? I mean, honestly, guys. I'm talking. Somebody asked me in there, what is the win percentage? Which I don't want to solicit to my room over at Simpler at all. I don't want to do that. But I'm like, man, if you look at the alerts of what we trade, it's pretty high. And I think we're still working on that. So I was talking to BZ in the background. You know, are we getting any data yet? And literally over here, I'm almost positive on Goldman Sachs now. So as I say that, I should probably look at just closing this thing out. Let's see. Well, that can't be right. Let me see. Eh? I gotta check my phone. I get confused sometimes. What's up? Happy Friday. Good times, right? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And the market doesn't give a crap. Only we do. We like make up all we make up all these rules for something that doesn't make sense to the market, right? The market's like, I don't care if it's short session. I could still give you 40% whether you give me 10 grand or 2 grand. Isn't that crazy? Man, you could have paid for all those gifts that your wife is about to purchase on Amazon. my god, that is Ashley about everything. So I'm not kidding. It's almost like every other day she brings something home, and I'm like, just because it's a good deal doesn't mean we have to buy it. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the mentality. It's crazy. Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to figure out. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to figure out if I'm actually losing. If I'm actually dead even on this trade now. It's hard for me to understand. So the PL for the day was down, and now it only says $1.50 in the red. Yeah, yeah. And when I bought back, the option was up 37%, and now it's up 55%. So that's kind of like what I look at. And the spreads are wide as hell, though. Let's see. Let me see if I can. That's why it's dangerous. Honestly, I think um, if I can get out of this thing soon, I'll probably be finished for the day. I mean, literally, the only thing that I have going on is that Google trade, which is down a little bit today. I might actually add to it again. And this Goldman Sachs. So I really want to be careful with Goldman Sachs because right now it looks like if I could get out at a decent price, I could almost just be flat on the trade. Let me see. And they're making it impossible. What's up, man? Hey, Omer, wake up, man. You're making me go to sleep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so the yeah, pivot low to pivot high, it literally just hit the 23.6. ES did. Hmm. There we go. Okay, very, very, very tiny loss there. So I was able to salvage that thing. Literally. That was almost a flat trade right there, from what I'm reading on here. Unless I'm reading it wrong. Let me. PL for the day. I'd have to go back and look. Now, if this thing smokes up to 4 plus, then it would have really done well, but yeah, let's just go ahead and close. close, Chewy. Goldman Sachs closed. Let me make sure. Here, I'm actually gonna go there. Yeah, that HD man. I was trying to. I don't know. Yeah, you guys probably weren't listening, but when I was over at Simpler, I was trying to get into that like 5 or 6 times, man, and could not get in, and you can see why. Um, it's just, and we try to enter on the pullback, So I had that zone I wanted to be in, um, and I wouldn't take the ask, and so I missed out. That would have been a really nice win from this morning. I should have just bought the spread, but it's easy to say that in hindsight. Oh, really? Uh huh. I couldn't even get into equity. Like it was crazy. I was just was like, okay. But in hindsight, it's like you look back and you're like, I was like, man, I couldn't even get in at, when it was up $1.80, and now it's up 650, and it's like, who cares? If I would have just bit I would have been boom, we'd have been doing really well. But look at Goldman Sachs too, making its run. Banks have been really. What's that? She did. She did. She reached out to me privately, and I told her I would probably just end up taking the loss. But then I was looking at it, and I was like, man, this thing looks kind of strong. So I just bought back the short side. And that was hard, guys, because the short side was also very wide. So I had to sit there and play with it before, you don't want to mess that up, or you can lose on both sides of that trade. Let's see how the future traders do today. I didn't have time to look at anything, but I feel like it's set up perfect from that support zone that we went over. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, man, we hit that 40-25 and see ya. And I think we close at 12. 12 Central. Okay. So another hour and a half of who knows what. Only trade. Got it. So far, a beautiful inside candle. If they take this thing and take out yester- yesterday's high, I guess, and we close above that, that would be pretty bullish. But we are definitely creating some divergence here. It really wants me to possibly get ready to protect. Remember I was talking last week about debit spreads to the downside? Just kind of, just like a filler. At least have something out there that says, okay, what stock is really elevated lately? You guys have anything? Like anything in the back of your head that's really been running hard that looks like it needs a break? Those are the kind of trades where I'd look back and go, okay, maybe we find a demand zone on a smaller time frame and try to target that and just do a debit spread. Myrna, Jesus, 175. I haven't looked at it in forever. FSLR. So, what was the catalyst? I thought when I opened my eyes today and was looking at Twitter, I think one thing I noticed out there was all of the information on um, China with COVID again. Yeah, I know, I know. It's a it's a crazy topic, that's for sure. Let's see. Weekly is inside on Myrna. Question is it inside and up or inside and down? If we want to go with, hey, it's a little overplayed, we go with debit spreads to the downside. I did not, Mike. I did not see that, man. I mean, it's went from red to white to green. Like, I'm not gonna mess with it. Let's look at UPS again. UPS and FedEx going into the holidays. Look at this, man. This thing looks beautiful. UPS still doing its thing at 183. How about FTX? Inside and up on FTX and coming into the bearish channel. But the bearish channel has already been tested. How much can FTX move? I got 20 days out. I'm like, this thing could hit the 50 and the 618 into the holidays. And these things are going for 25 cents for 20 days out. That makes me a little interested. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. So weekly ATR is 15. That puts us at 190. And the monthly is at 34. Yeah. Yeah. And from a Fibonacci standpoint, I mean, how does this squeeze look? So we have higher yellows on the weekly. Well, on the daily, one, two, three, four, five trendy blue bars. So maybe a. Are we waiting for a pullback? Yeah, Google can't get anything going here. Almost down another dollar. That might be something I want to take. just for fun here. See if it comes in a little bit more today. Does it fill the gap first? They have earnings. FedEx has earnings on December the 20th. Dang. We might get things cheaper. We might come towards gap fill next week. Like everybody, right? Everyone's looking maybe for FedEx and UPS over the holidays, maybe, But they pull back, kind of throw retail off, like, oh, okay. And then fill this gap, and then we buy from there. Probably the better move instead of trying to buy it today. see, they report 20 December. 16 December would be leading up to that. If they hit 190, that'd be 10, 40. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, that Goldman Sachs, if I would have just held on a little bit longer there, was nice. Those are bidding between 3.50 and $4 now. It's up 245. That's not bad. Man, I'm not seeing much for FedEx here. Like, there's like no volume. Like, nobody's trading today except for us. It literally feels like that. I could be right. There's like no volume on the option chains. Maybe today's the day. You talking about on FTX, Mike? Are you bearish on FTX? I just feel like it's underpriced, man. Does it not feel like it's underpriced? This thing can move $20 like that. And looking at the squeeze and looking that we've already tested the underside of the 38.2, if there's any kind of good data that comes out over the weekend, this thing would probably make a run for 192 next week, man. But the question is, do I get it cheaper next week? Heck yeah, Omar. Is that a reason to buy? I mean, it could be. It's Friday, and like the edges, you can see we're making lower highs on the edges as well. Kind of tells me that it might want to come back on Monday. So it's a hard one, man. I'm gonna wait just a little bit before I do anything. ES 4050 close. Anybody want to bet? 4050 on the close? Yeah, if we spike to 4050, I'll probably look to. Go plug. It's your birthday. Alright, I'm just going to leave it here. I'm going to get some more coffee and just chill out. It's getting kind of boring now.